the Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment. You ever wanted to come into a sports bar where the barkeeps know their game? Well, the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media has got a production just for you. Sit down and relax as the stat boy and his partner break down the statistics in all things sports. Whether it's football, basketball, motorsports, baseball, hockey, soccer, professional wrestling, mixed martial arts, boxing, and much, much more. All are welcome. Your barkeeps here keep you up to date and in the know of everything going on in sports, while also having a pleasant conversation about it all. Your host and owner of the bar, Stat Boy Mike. His partner in crime, Dory Lou. And a host of other guests coming in. The food's hot, the seats are warm, the drinks are ice cold, and the sports talk is plentiful. Casa D-18 Studios presents Stat Boy Sports Bar. Take a bar stool and enjoy the show.
Hello, my internet fans. Welcome to another episode of Stat Boy Sports Bar for March 19th, 2024. Dory Lou's working a double shift tonight. DJ Mud King is back in the co-host chair. I'm in charge of the Stat Boy Sports Bar this week. Lucky me, lucky me. We've got plenty to talk about. It's March Madness season. That's going to be our main event tonight. Normally we do the hockey at the end, but because it's an event happening starting tonight, actually, with the Final Four or the first four, we're gonna save that for the meat and potatoes of Stats Boy Sports Bar. Remember, as always, if you want to dictate the conversation, if you want to ask me a question, super chat. It's as simple as that. That's what we do here in Stat Boy Sports Bar, and that's what we do here in the Multiverse of Media and the Casa D-18 Studios. Talk about what do you want to talk about? Let's start talking about some golf. Let's bring up our first graphic, and there it is. It's the PGA Tour. It's the Players Championship, which took place in Ponte Verde Beach, Florida, and there is your winner, Scottie Scheffler, the number one player in the PGA today. The news report comes directly from the PGA.com, written by, I have to give credit, I got to give credit where credit is due. This, written by the Associated Press, already the best in the world. They're already taking something off of the old WWE stuff. Already the best in the world, Scottie Scheffler added another layer to his legend on Sunday. He became the first player to win back-to-back in 50 years of the Players' Championship by matching the biggest comeback and the lowest closing round by a winner. He holed out for eagle from the fourth fairway and had 4 birdies in a 5-hole stretch, sending him to an 8 under 64 and a one-shot victory that wasn't decided until the final putt. Xander Schauffele, Brian Harman, and Wyndham Clark all had a chance to force a playoff with a birdie on the daunting 18th hole at TPC Sawgrass Stadium. Wyndham Clark had the last shot, a putt just inside 18 feet that dipped into the cup on the left side and came out on the right, leaving him stunned as he placed his hand over his mouth. And, of course, he had his hat over his face. Scheffler, who started the final round 5 shots behind, was on the practice range preparing for a 3-hole playoff when he got the word and showed more emotion than usual for someone who is getting used to winning. That's the problem with golf, friends. You think you get it, it just goes around the lip of the cup and it just doesn't drop. That's what happens. If you remember the old I Love Lucy episode, he and Fred and Carolyn's husband at the time were all talking about golf and talking about putting, and it's a Mesley 2-foot putt, and it's the Mesley ones that get you going. In this case, it was 18 feet. It just didn't happen for Wyndham Clark, but he ended up taking a second place victory. There's your top 10 in the FedEx Cup standings. Scottie Scheffler is the number one player, or ranked number one, at 2,298 points. The Players' Championship was a flagship event or a signature event, meaning it was worth more points. Wyndham Clark is at 1531, Hideki Matsuyama at 1220, Xander Schauffele at 1121, Sahith Theegala at 1074, Matthew Pavone at 987, who's been in the top 10 for a while now, Bjorn Hun An at 948, Chris Kirk at 916, Ludwig Aber at 893, and Brian Harman at 815. Now remember, we do the top 10. To get to the FedEx Cup, you have to be in the top 70. Brother Zach, 18-foot putt does him in. What do you say on that?
Man, I felt like in that moment I was watching a Tiger Woods reaction, but Tiger Woods would have just, he would have pulled a Happy Gilmore and chunked the club into this crowd and just, but just to see it happen that close, it's so exciting, but you feel so bad for Wyndham Clark at the same time.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I mean, it's rough, man. It's rough.
It is rough. I mean, and golf, like football, is a game of inches. If you're 1 inch left or 1 inch right, you're gonna lip out. What I like the curve. I like it when they curve left to make it go right or something like that. You can't just hit the ball straight on the green because of the way the green slants. You got to read the green. Luckily, when it comes to putt, it's flat and level and even, but these courses are just so devastating. But hey, coming up in the Valspar Championship next week, they'll have a chance to regain all that lost footage and everything. It's another event, 500 points to the winner coming up.
Right, and you gotta look ahead. I mean, Scottie Scheffler has to be the odds-on favorite to win the green jacket in a couple weeks at the Masters.
I do like the Masters. The Masters is it's the Wimbledon of golf this early in the season as well.
Yeah.
Now, that iconic green jacket that Tiger Woods won a few years back, actually. He actually did. The ladies did not play this week. They are, I believe, coming from overseas. So they did play, of course, at the Blue Bay LPGA last week or the week before. So they're going to play this week. All righty. Coming up next. And here's your 2024 tour summary. All the winners so far. Scottie Scheffler has gone back to back. All right, the ATP at the BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells, California. We have the rival to the Joker, Carlos Alcaraz, who won his tournament this week. And of course, the story comes to us directly from the ATP. Let me bring that up real quick. And let's see. Yes, this is directly from ATP itself. Carlos Alcaraz is back in top form. The Spaniard surged past world number 4 Daniil Medvedev, winning 7-6 tiebreaker and 6-1 on Sunday to retain the BNP Paribas Open title. It is the 20-year-old's first title since he triumphed at Wimbledon last year. Alcaraz entered the Indian Wells fortnight with a 6-3 record on the season, and during his most recent outing in Rio de Janeiro, he suffered an injury scare to his ankle, forcing him to retire. But the number 2 player in the ATP rankings emerged from a star-studded field in the California desert with the trophy and restored confidence. Alcaraz and Medvedev also met in the Indian Wells final 1 year ago when the former won 6-3, 6-2. The two-time Indian Wells champion took a 5-3 lead in their head-to-head rivalry after a championship performance in which he hit 19 forehand winners compared to 11 total winners for his opponent. Of course, the top 8 are in the race to Turin, which will determine the ATP champion for 2024. Jannik Sinner still has the lead at 2,900 points. Daniil Medvedev is at 2,150. Carlos Alcaraz, who is the winner of the BNP Paribas Open, is in third place at 1,500. Alexander Zverev is at 1,435. Alex de Minaur is at 1,395. Andrei Rublev is at 1,050, who is tied with Sebastian Baez at 1,050. And Ugo Humbert is at 975. The ladies also played in their version of the BNP Paribas Open, and your winner was Iga Swiatek. This comes from WTA staff on the WTA website. Iga Swiatek rolled to her second BNP Paribas Open title on Sunday by toppling my favorite, Maria Sakkari, 6-4, 6-0. World number 1 Swiatek won the final 8 games of the match to knock off Sakkari for the second time in 2 years in Indian Wells, having beaten her 6-4, 6-1 in the 2022 final. Swiatek won 12 of the first 15 points, but it was a competitive match for much of the first set. From love 30 down on her serve in the fourth game, number 9 ranked Maria Sakkari won 3 straight games to level the first set at 3-3. But when it hit 4-4, the world number 1 went to that extra level. God level invoked, as it says on Roman Reigns' shirt. By the end of the match, she broke Sakkari 5 times and lost only 5 points in the second set. Behind 15 winners overall, Swiatek won 12 straight sets in her second BNP Paribas Open title run and lost just 21 games. So they are also racing to the WTA finals. Iga Swiatek is in the lead with 3,020 points. Arnya Sabalenka is at 24.55. Elena Rybakina is at 20.43. Qinwen Zhang is at 17.20. Our local favorite and American favorite Coco Gauff is at 16.45. She is in 5th place. Yelena Ostapenko is at 14.88. Yasmin Paolini is at 14.07. And Kostyuk is at 13.50, rounding out the top 8. All righty, we are done with golf and tennis. Let's move on to our next game, our next sport, and it's Bristol, baby. The Food City 500, which took place in Bristol, Tennessee, not Bristol, Virginia. And this used to be the dirt race. This is the spring race in NASCAR. And your winner was number 11, Danny Hamlin, in his number 11 Toyota. This story comes directly from NASCAR.com, and it reads, how appropriate. On a day where tire management was the essential element in a NASCAR Cup Series race, 3 veterans swept positions, with Denny Hamlin winning Sunday's Food City 500 at Bristol Motor Speedway. In a race that produced 54 lead changes, a record for Cup Series short tracks, because it is a short track, it's the fastest half mile in NASCAR, Hamlin lost the lead briefly to his teammate Joe Gibbs Racing. Hamlin lost the lead briefly to his teammate for Joe Gibbs Racing, Martin Truex Jr. in the closing laps, but regained it in traffic and beat the current reigning regular season champion from last season by 1.083 seconds. In a return to concrete after having 3 straight spring races on dirt, Hamlin won his 2nd straight race at the half-mile speedway and his 4th overall, 2nd most active among drivers to Kyle Busch's 8. The victory was the 52nd of Hamlin's career, 13th all-time, and his 1st this season. But the story was the tires and the mysterious way they behaved in a race that saw the track start to eat through the cords 45 laps into a green flag run. Goodyear brought the same tire that ran without issues in last fall's night race, but on Sunday, the concrete surface did not take rubber. Instead, marbles, which are small balls of rubber from tires that run off, accumulated high in the corners, making the top of the track untenable. Also, an issue that helped to count, the temperature was roughly 10 to 15 for last year's night race, which was on September 16th. So tires became the norm at Bristol this season. But congratulations to number 11, Denny Hamlin. Let's look at the top 10 there. Of course, Martin Truex Jr. in his 19 Toyota. He is the teammate of the champion. Brad Keselowski makes his first appearance in the top 10 for his number 6 Ford at RFK Racing. Teammates Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson in their number 48 and number 5 Chevrolets for Hendrick Motorsports take 4th and 5th. And my favorite Xfinity driver, John Hunter Nemechek, who is part-time for the Cup Series in his number 42 Toyota for Legacy Motor Club. Chris Boucher in his number 17 Ford for RFK Racing took 7th. Chase Elliott took 8th in his Chevrolet for Hendricks. And Ty Gibbs and Christopher Bell round out the top 10. The standings in the Cup Series, Kyle Larson and Martin Truex Jr. are tied at 185 points. The reason Kyle Larson has the number 1 spot is because he has won a race so far this season. That is the first tiebreaker. Ty Gibbs and Ryan Blaney are right on their heels. And then Denny Hamlin moved into the top 5. He's only 12 points back. Chase Elliott is in 6th place. He's 33 points behind. Ross Chastain is 34 points behind. Christopher Bell is 47 points behind. Tyler Reddick is 48 points behind. William Byron is 49 points behind. So 1 point separates all 3 drivers. Daniel Suarez is 52 points behind. Alex Bowman is 53 points behind. Brad Keselowski is 60 points behind. Chris Boucher is 61 points behind, tied with John Hunter Nemechek. Chris Boucher won a race earlier, so he has the advantage. And Kyle Busch rounds out the top 16. Remember, you want to be in the top 16. If you are 17 and below, you will not race for the playoffs at the end of the season. The Xfinity racers did not race this week. They come back next week. So we had the Weather Guard truck race at Bristol Motor Speedway in the Craftsman Series. And we'll bring up that stat and that story right now from NASCAR.com. Sometimes a victory tastes sweetest when it comes as a chaser for a bitter defeat. That was certainly the case for pole winner Christian X, who held off Kyle Busch in the closing laps to win Saturday night's Weather Guard truck race at Bristol Motor Speedway. In last year's NASCAR Craftsman's Truck Series playoff race at Bristol, X gave up the lead to Corey Heim with 6 laps left and finished second by 0.2 of a second. The loss cost X, who led 150 laps in that event, a berth in the Championship 4 at Phoenix, where his victory in the season finale gave him a consolation prize, but not a title. On Saturday night, X passed Busch for the lead on lap 159 and held it for the final 92 circuits as Busch made a frenetic charge that fell just short. In traffic, X crossed the finish line 0.141 seconds. So that's 141 thousandth of a second ahead of the career Truck Series victory leader. By putting his number 19 McAnally Hillman Racing Silverado in victory lane, X extended Chevrolet's winning streak to 4 races. Like I always say, Ford on the streets, Chevy on the track, even though Ford stands for first on race day. I get it, but still, Chevy on the track, Ford on the streets. So what does this mean for the top 10? Tyler Ankrum is the leader at 174 points. Corey Heim is 17 points behind him. And Raja Karuth is 22 points behind the leader. Ty Majeski is 29 points behind the leader. Christian X, 32 points behind. Nicholas Sanchez, 33 points behind. Brett Holmes is 79. Is 30. No, he's 10th. I'm sorry. Taylor Gray is 36 points behind. Matt Crafton is 44 points behind. Grant Effinger is 60 points behind. And Brett Holmes is 10th. You want to be in the top 10 to qualify for the playoffs at the end of the season. All righty. That takes care of NASCAR. Moving on, the NBA. As you can see here, the Boston Celtics have become the first team to clinch their playoff spot. They are number one. Now, this does not mean they have clinched the number one spot. They have just made it into the playoffs. They can finish no better than, or no worse than sixth. They do not have to play in the play-in tournament, which is, of course, 7 versus 10 and 8 versus 9. They are guaranteed a top 6 finish in the East. So they are green, so they are in. Congratulations to the Boston Celtics. Oklahoma City Thunder is in second overall in the power rankings, but they are number 1 in the West at 47-20. They have not moved. Minnesota Timberwolves are still third overall in my rankings, and they are number 2 in the West. They were number 3 in the West last week. They did get a win. They have moved up. The defending champion Denver Nuggets at 40, they are also tied with the Minnesota Timberwolves, but because of tiebreakers, Minnesota has the the higher seed right now. So so they are number 3 in the West. Milwaukee is ranked number 4 overall at 44-24, ranked number 2 in the East. Cleveland rounds out column 1 at 43-25. The Clippers are at 42-25. They are ranked number 4 in the West. The Pelicans are 41-26. The Knicks are 41-27. The Orlando Magic are 40-28. And the Sacramento Kings hold the last guaranteed playoff spot in the West. They are currently the number 6 seed at 39-28. Right now, Dallas is the number 7 spot. They will currently be playing the number 10, the number 8 team, It's 7 versus 8 and 9 versus 10. So they would be playing Phoenix if the playoffs started today. Phoenix, of course, starts off column 3. Then Philadelphia has the last spot in the East at 38-30. They're in for now. They haven't clinched yet. Indiana is the number 7 team in the East. They would be playing Miami, which is right next to them. Lakers are still number 9 in the West. Golden State should be at number 10 there, I believe. I might have messed that up a little bit, but that's okay. Chicago is 9 in the East. Houston is number 10 in the East. And I see where I made my mistake. So this is why we need to proofread, but it happens. The teams that are on the bubble and that are still trying to get in are Utah, Brooklyn, Toronto, Memphis, and Charlotte. They all still have not been eliminated. Portland, Detroit, San Antonio, and Washington have been eliminated. They are X'd out. They cannot get into the playoffs. I do believe, though, that another team might be eliminated tonight. And I still believe that it will still be a Boston-Minnesota final in the NBA. All right, we're getting closer and closer to meat and potato time. So we're going to play what we always play before we talk about the miracles on ice, and that's hockey. So here again, like I said, we play this all the time. There is another video that I haven't had a chance to look at, but there is like a follow-up to this. That should come in next week. In the meantime, again, enjoy the trailer for Gary Hebert's 1 in a Million. And when we come back, We talk about hockey.
Gary Hebert, the man, the myth, the legend. I was amazed, and I was looking to become a better skater myself, and I wanted to be like Gary.
When you look at a guy like this, he's one of the most talented people in his profession. He's been given gifts by God.
It can get frustrating at times when you're trying things that, that maybe don't come as quickly to you as other things. And, you never really felt that sense of frustration with Gary. It was always about improvement and positive reinforcement.
Was it really the end? Was that head injury really the end? God has called Gary to continue to be a blessing to others and to be a passionate example.
My name is Gary Hebert, and this is the World Academy of Hockey, otherwise known as the Inside Edge.
I would recommend anybody that have a chance to come to his hockey school. I think it'd be well worth it. It'd be rewarding to all the kids and anyone he coaches, from whether it's an adult, a professional player, to a little kid like a Mike or a Squirt.
Gary, from day one, has been instrumental to my hockey career. I started out as a potential Division III player, and Gary brought me single-handedly through high school and into a top Division I prospect. I owe it all to Gary, the biggest legend on and off ice there's ever been.
Listen, watch, learn, be confident, and have faith. Those are the answers I was brought to. Yet, I only now am really learning how truly important those 5 things are.
Through preparation, through appropriate thoughtfulness and thinking, we can learn to untie the typical knots between our ears that drive us into underachievement and underperformance. And lo and behold, we can learn, I think, to fulfill our God-given potential.
Gary has the innate ability to make people not only better players, but better people. The life lessons they learn from Gary are incredible.
You can always remember leaving that rink knowing as a player I got better, or I had something to improve on to get better. And I think that's what you excelled on as a coach, is giving us the knowledge to know what we needed to do to get better.
There's coaches who know the game, but can you communicate and create passion in your kids and in your players? And Gary's able to do that.
Gary's got great knowledge and the great hands, but more importantly, his ability to connect with people and care for them. His communication skills, to me, really stand out and separate him, and that's why he's one of the best, in the world.
Gary's a legend. He's a special, special man.
Indeed, he is a special man, as we thank him every week that we've been doing and promoting this documentary. Again, there's another video out that I do need to watch, and as soon as I can get that into the rotation, it will come up. All right, hockey. The PWHL is getting closer and closer to the end of its inaugural season. 2 of the teams do have 6 games left, and everybody else has 7 games left. Toronto leads with 33 points. They are tied with Minnesota. The tiebreaker, of course, comes down to wins. Toronto has 9. Minnesota has 8. They both have 3 overtime wins. Minnesota has 3 overtime losses, so that equals it out, and that's why they have 33 points. Montreal has 30 points. Boston has 22. The top 4 teams would play each other in a very small tournament to award their inaugural championship. So probably in 2 weeks' time, their playoffs will start. All righty. Before we get into our main event here, we have the current and updated power rankings for hockey. The Boston Bruins are still your number 1 team at 95 points, and they are number 1 in the Atlantic Division. The New York Rangers are at 94 points, tied with the Florida Panthers. The Rangers are in the Metropolitan Division, and the Panthers are in the Atlantic Division. The Vancouver Canucks are at 92 points. The Winnipeg Jets are tied with the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars. All three have 91 points, and all three teams are in the Central Division, and those three teams have the exact same points. So to break the tie, it goes by whichever team has played less. Then it goes to regular wins, meaning just wins in regulation. Carolina rounds out column 1 at 90 points, and they are the number 2 team in the Metropolitan Division. Toronto starts off column 2 at 85 points, Edmonton at 84, Nashville at 82. They are still they are holding on to that final, or that first wild card spot in the West. They are in the Western Conference, but they are in the Central Division. They are 9 points behind the Dallas Stars. I'm not too certain if they want to stay where they are. I mean, a playoff run would be excellent for them, but they might want to try a little bit harder. They've got 14 games to play. They would only need 9 points, and hopefully Dallas doesn't score enough to get that one. The Kings are at 79. They are currently tied with the Golden Knights. They have 29 regular wins. The Golden Knights have 28 regular wins. Both of those teams play tonight, so they could flip-flop depending on who they are playing. The Kings are playing the Blackhawks, and the Golden Knights are playing the Lightning. I'll get to that scenario in just a little bit. Well, the Lightning in fact, the Golden Knights playing the Lightning is a good battle of wild card matchups because they are both wild cards currently. Philadelphia is at 76 points and Washington's at 75. St. Louis is at 75 as well. Detroit is at 74, tied with Minnesota. Minnesota is still in the hunt to continue to get their playoff spot going. New York Islanders at 73, Calgary at 71, Buffalo is tied at 71, Pittsburgh is at 69, and the Kraken is at, where are the Kraken? 68. Column 4, the Devils are at 68. The Canadiens are at 61, along with the Coyotes. The Senators are at 60, and the Blue Jackets are at 57. My Ducks are officially eliminated, along with the Blackhawks and the Sharks. The next team to possibly be eliminated are the Coyotes. The Coyotes are not playing tonight, so it all falls on Vegas. If Vegas gets to overtime or straight out wins, that will put them at 80 or 81 points. The best Arizona can do is only 79 points. So Arizona can become the first team this season to be eliminated without even touching the ice. That is a sad way to be eliminated. Now, they do have more points than the Senators and the Blue Jackets, but they are also different divisions. So it will be possible in the power rankings for a team to be eliminated and have more points than a team that is not eliminated yet. The Blue Jackets, they are currently at 57 points. Their tragic number is at 10, meaning if they lose 10 of the last 14 games, or if the Capitals win enough points, they can actually, I believe it's at a 5. I see where I messed that up. So the Blue Jackets have to lose 5 or not get 10 points. I see my mistake on my stat board 9,000. So the Blue Jackets are starting to get dangerously low in elimination scenarios. And of course, again, the Knights and the Kings, like I said, the Knights, they can come up and they can just eliminate a team without even being on the ice. All righty, friends. It's time now for our main event. It's time for the meat and potatoes of this week's Stat Boy Sports Bar, and that is NCAA March Madness. All 32 conferences had their tournaments, their small tournaments, and teams that won a tournament got an automatic bid or an automatic entry to come and play. There were 4 teams that have to work their way into the tournament. It's now called the first 4. And those matchups are actually taking place, I believe, tonight. And looking currently at the NCAA, I believe there is a matchup between Wagner and Howard. And again, they have to play those in. So let's take a look at the current bracket. And if you are competing in all these tournament contests, predict the winners, good luck to you, folks. That's all I can tell you is good luck, because you've got a lot of work to do ahead of you. So the number 1 teams in the East, UConn, will take on the number 16 team, Stetson. The number 8 team, FAU, will take Northwestern. San Diego State will play UAB. Auburn will play Yale. BYU will play Duquesne's. Illinois will play Morehead State. Washington will play Drake. And Iowa State will play South Dakota State. That is your Eastern tournament. All 16 teams are matched up in standard, 116, first place best, and all the way down. In the West, North Carolina is going to play the winner of the matchup that is taking place right now, Howard versus Wagner. So whoever wins in that matchup between those 2 teams will play North Carolina. And believe me, I don't know if you want to be that team. To go after the Tar Heels is amazing in itself. Currently, the score right now is Wagner 38, Howard 27. They are currently playing. So the winner of that matchup moves into the tournament to play against North Carolina. Mississippi State takes on Michigan State. That's going to be a good matchup, 8 versus 9. St. Mary's takes on Grand Canyon. The Crimson Tide takes on Charleston. Clemson takes on New Mexico. Baylor takes on Colgate. Dayton takes on Nevada. And this one I'm very proud of, even though they've won the Big West tournament. So big props. I'm very proud of the Long Beach State, but they have to take on the Arizona Wildcats. Very tough team, but there have been plenty of 2-15 upsets. So I'm going to keep an eye out on that one. In the South tournament, Houston takes on Longwood. Nebraska takes on Texas A&M. Wisconsin takes on James Madison. Duke takes on Virginia. Texas Tech takes on North Carolina State. Kentucky takes on Oakland. Florida takes on the winner of Colorado and Boise State. I do believe that matchup is tonight as well. Let's take a look at the schedule. Colorado, Virginia. Did I mess that up? I guess I see where okay, that's in the Midwest tournament. So it's Colorado and Boise State, Colorado State, and Virginia is where I might have that reversed. Either way, it happens. And then Marquette takes on, who does Marquette take on there? Marquette takes on Western Kentucky. And the final matchup in the Midwest, Purdue takes on the winner of a matchup between Grambling and Montana State. Utah takes on TCU. Gonzaga takes on McNeese. Kansas takes on Samford. South Carolina takes on Oregon. Creighton takes on Akron. Texas takes on the winner of Colorado State and Virginia. And our residential hometown, Tennessee Vols, takes on St. Peter's. Again, I am not officially doing a bracket this season. I've got a lot going on right now in my life, juggling jobs and everything like that. And on the rare occasions that I do get a day off, honestly, I would just want to sit back and enjoy the game. I would not just want to. I would just want to sit back and watch the games in itself. Founder checking in while I can. Hope barkeep and patrons are all well. Thank you, Jeff. I'm doing okay with what I got. So we're almost technically done here today on this week's episode, by the way. So getting close to the end here. So what I'll do now, I'll do an impromptu little. I'll make my picks known, but I would doubt that it's official because I'm not really counting the first 4 matchups, honestly. So let me take a look here, and I'll just jot these down as I go. So I'm going to say that, of course, UConn is going to advance. FAU Northwestern, the 8 and the 9s have always been troublesome when it comes to upsets. So I'm going to say Northwestern upsets FAU. We'll write that down, Northwestern. San Diego State versus UAB. I got to go with the California roots, and I'll go with San Diego State on that one. Auburn and Yale. Well, it's not Harvard, but, Harvard and Yale and always that. A 4 versus a 13. I'm going to say that Auburn advances. BYU and Duquesne's, I'll go with BYU on that one. Illinois and Morehead State, we'll go with Illinois. Washington and Drake, we'll go with, let's go with the Huskies. And UConn is the Huskies as well, but I think, and Iowa State and South Dakota State, we will go with Iowa State. All right, so then in the West, North Carolina is going to win hands down, I believe, on that one. It doesn't matter who. I honestly don't count the first 4. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. It's always been 64 teams for me. It's just very, very odd that you have to play one final matchup to get in. So I'm going to go with the Tar Heels on that one. North Carolina. Mississippi State and Michigan State. Can I go with 2 different 8s versus 9s? I do like the Spartans. I really do. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've been utilizing the Spartan kick in that one. So I'm going to say Michigan State on that one. I think there will be 2 different upsets. St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon University, I know of their commercial. I do believe they are a Christian-based university as well. So this is almost a very interesting matchup, St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon. And I was born at St. Mary's Hospital in Long Beach, California. So I'm going to say Grand Canyon pulls an upset on that one. I'm going on a limb on that one. Yes, I have to go with the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Have to go with that. Let's go with the Clemson Tigers over New Mexico. And we'll go with Baylor over Colgate. And Dayton versus Nevada. We'll go with another upset with Nevada. And this one is so hard because I like the Wildcats, but I'm going to go with the ultimate upset, and I'm going to say that Long Beach State upsets Arizona and knocks them out. All right, in the South, we're going to go with Houston. They're the number 1 team. They're going to beat Longwood. Nebraska versus Texas A&M. I'm going to go with the number 8 seed on that one. We'll go with the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. Wisconsin, we'll go with the Cheeseheads of Wisconsin. And I have to go with Duke over Virginia. Duke is my go-to. Duke is absolutely my go-to. Texas Tech and NC State. Well, I already have the Tar Heels in, so I'm going to go with Texas Tech. Kentucky and Oakland, we're going to go with Kentucky. The Gators are going to win. I'm not. If it's Colorado, they might have a chance. I'm going to go with the Gators on that one, and then I'm going to go with Marquette. And in the Midwest, Purdue is going to win hands down. That means all the number 1 teams are going to go in. Utah is going to beat TCU. Gonzaga is going to go. Gonzaga is always a team I pick as well, so I'm going to go with them. Kansas, can't go wrong with Kansas. We'll go with that. South Carolina and Oregon. I'm going to call an upset on that one, and I'm going to say the Oregon Ducks upset South Carolina. Creighton and Akron. Creighton and Akron. We'll go with Creighton. Texas, don't mess with Texas. And, of course, I have to go with the Volunteers. I have to go with my residential hometown team. My residential home city team or whatever. Zach, where are you? Get back here. This is the reason you're on this show. All right, so that puts us into the second round. 32 teams left. That would leave UConn versus Northwestern. So we'll go with UConn. And that would put them up against between San Diego State and Auburn. We'll go with San Diego State. I got to stay with my California roots. San Diego State. BYU and Illinois. We got to go with the Fighting Illinois on that one. Washington and Iowa State. Got to go with Washington. North Carolina and Michigan State. That's going to be the Tar Heels. North Carolina. Crimson Tide beats Grand Canyon. Clemson beats Baylor. Now, do I want to see now? Can Long Beach State beat Nevada? Yes. I'll say Long Beach State makes it to the Sweet 16. Why not? Houston versus Nebraska. That would be Houston. Wisconsin versus Duke. That's Duke. I always go with Duke. John Wayne, got to go with Duke. Texas Tech and Kentucky. We'll go with Texas Tech. Setting up, of course, Florida. Purdue gets into the Sweet 16. Goes up against Gonzaga, because that's a good matchup. Oregon advances, and they go up against Tennessee. Tennessee against Texas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Then the Elite Eight will be UConn against Washington. North Carolina beats Alabama. Clemson beats Long Beach State. Doggone it. Does Houston make it to the Elite Eight? I initially said all the number ones would make it to the Final Four. I'm going to say no. Duke upsets Houston. Florida beats Texas Tech. Gonzaga beats Purdue. Tennessee beats Oregon. And that would make the Final Four UConn, North Carolina, Duke, and Tennessee. There it is right there. That's my Final Four. And then UConn would take on North Carolina, and Duke would take on Tennessee. And I would like to see North Carolina versus Tennessee in the championship. And I did it once. I did it the first year that I moved to Tennessee. I said the Volunteers would win it all. Now that I've been here 3 years, I'm never going to learn from my mistakes. The Volunteers win March Madness. I'm saying that right now, folks. The Volunteers win March Madness. All right, let's quickly also, we have to give love to the ladies because they are in as well. Now, they go by regional numbers. They don't do a north, south, east, west type of thing. South Carolina was the number one team all season long. They play the winners of a matchup between Sacred Heart University and Presbyterian. The North Carolina Lady Tar Heels, they take on Michigan State. That's going to be a very good matchup. Oklahoma takes on FGCU. Indiana takes on Fairfield. Nebraska takes on Texas A&M. Oregon State takes on East Washington. Ole Miss takes on Marquette. Notre Dame takes on Kent State. And that's that first tournament. The Regional 4 tournament, Texas takes on Drexel. Alabama takes on Florida State. Utah takes on South Dakota State. Gonzaga takes on UC Irvine. So I might keep an eye on that one. Our Lady Volunteers take on Green Bay. North Carolina State takes on Chattanooga. Iowa State takes on Maryland, and Stanford takes on Norfolk State. Houston takes on the winner between Holy Cross and UT Martin. West Virginia takes on Princeton. Colorado takes on Drake. Kansas State takes on Portland. Louisville takes on MTSU. LSU takes on Rice. Creighton takes on, and the UCLA Bruins take on, I cannot read that. It's too small. I believe it is, I believe it's another California team. My full screen is a little bit messed up on that one. I do apologize. USC takes on Texas A&M Community College. Kansas takes on Michigan. Baylor takes on the winner between Vanderbilt and Columbia. Kansas takes on Samford. Syracuse takes on the winner between Auburn and Arizona. UConn takes on Jackson State. Duke takes on Richmond State. And The Ohio State is playing as well. UCLA takes on California Baptist, and The Ohio State takes on Maine. Now, I'm not going to go through everyone here, but I will say that I believe the Final Four will be South Carolina. I don't really, as much as I like the Lady Vols, I'll give them, I'll say they get to the Elite Eight, but overall, I think Texas will get in. I want to see UCLA get in, and I want to see The Ohio State get in. So my Final Four, South Carolina, Texas, UCLA, and The Ohio State in the Final Four. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much wraps up everything I've got for this week. We did everything under an hour. I guess Zach had to step away for a second, so I do apologize for that. But it is what it is. So coming up, I do know that we are doing, we're getting ready for karaoke night, open mic night, karaoke night, WWE version. That is coming up, I believe, on the WrestleMania weekend, or the week before WrestleMania weekend. I just didn't get all the shills involved and all that. I do apologize. Other than that, I will take a quick moment to address something. In my personal life, and this is a bit of a rant to round out the hour. I decided to try and balance two jobs, and I put a post on Facebook saying that one job could potentially take over the other. One would be more life altering than the other. Sometimes I hate being right. I really do. I don't want to go into super details yet. Dory Lou tries to teach us to stay positive. I am trying to stay positive, but I am a little bit worried that prediction might come true. Don't assume anything. Again, Dory Lou teaches us to be positive, and I'm going to try and stay positive. If one job does win out over the other, it would free up a little bit more time to where I can enjoy things and and make a little more money and enjoy life, because that is what I want to do. I want to enjoy life. I want to take care of my responsibilities, and I want to I just want to do things, priorities over passion is something that we always talk about. So I will say that, some stuff has come up. So if I seem a little bit off, that is why. But, it's life. Life happens. Also coming up soon, as we get closer and closer to the push to WrestleMania, Simply Predicting should be coming up soon. I still haven't made the decision if I'm going to appear on that, but I am going to present Noah Foster with some stats, and hopefully that'll come across a lot. There's a lot of work. Monday Night Raw took place yesterday. Congratulations to the Awesome Truth for qualifying for the 6-way ladder match. I don't think I'm going to do 6 degrees of who's fought who in wrestling. I don't think that's my style. That's just a lot of work that I might not have a lot of time for. Also, I want to give a shout out to Becky Lynch. If you saw on her Instagram or on her social media, she visited the White House. Regardless of how you feel on who is in the White House or who is going to be in the White House, she met Joe Biden. She met the president on St. Patrick's Day because the White House was hosting a St. Patrick's Day brunch. Becky, of course, is Irish, so she got to attend. Also, on last night's Raw, the Michael Cole announced that Becky passed a U.S. citizenship test. So congratulations to her on that. As far as everything else, stay tuned to the Jeff Meacham Network. Watch For the Love of Wrestling every day, Monday through Thursday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Renegade gives his reports on what's happening in the world of wrestling. Keep an eye out on what's going to be happening on SmackDown this week with Cody Rhodes. He and Paul Heyman have made an agreement or an accord of some kind that they'll show Roman and Cody will go face-to-face, one-on-one. No members of the bloodline will be there other than Paul Heyman. He promises to just hold on to the belt and hold on to the beads so Cody and Roman can have their one-on-one. But, of course, the stipulation is that nobody else can show up to back up Cody. But let's face it, there's going to be some shenanigans abound on that. Keep up on social media with Dory Lou and myself. Twitter handles LBStatKid1977 and at Hathaway Lou. Follow us on Instagram at Statboy13 and at Dory Lou as well. We've gone an hour, friends. That's all the news I've got for this week. So stay tuned to the social medias, and if things happen, I will let you know. I love you all, friends and family. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next week. Until then, Statboy out. And I should have had this set up, but I didn't, so I'm stalling for a little bit. Ha ha ha. I love you all. Have a good one, and good night.
The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.